Right, welcome back. Now we are onto the forward segment. So I think it's probably important to start with, just reminding people not to panic on João Pedro and Cunha. Even though neither of them returned, the fixtures are still there. They're still talismanic players. They're still great. It will come. Don't be alarmed. Don't rush to sell. And we're going to have our weekly debate about Wissa. So this week Wissa did return where those two didn't return. But more importantly, he returned again with a high XG. Now, granted, and I know Brad's about to say, they've got another striker back and he bagged a hat trick and XYZ, but Wissa's XG was still quite high. Wissa still registered a 0.83 XG, which it just shows so much of what Brentford are doing is going through him. But I think it's more important to talk about Wissa within the frame of Brentford as a whole team. Brentford are scoring so many goals at the moment. They play such attacking football that if you're the main outlet, you just are naturally going to find yourself in positions to score. Now he somehow managed to return and slip down your list, so
Yeah.
let's get a bit of an explanation for that.
Okay. So the reason he slipped down my list is fixtures. Like him
Yeah,
and Brentford keep doing well at home. By the way, only at home it
yeah,
seems, and also they keep doing well in good fixtures, which is expected.
mm,
Now they don't have good fixtures, so I mean,
yeah,
three of their next five are away, which for starters is poor for them. Those away games are
mm,
Villa, Chelsea, Brighton, and in between that they've got Newcastle and Forest. That's just not good fixtures for me. And yeah, like you say, I mean that I don't know much about this striker, Igor Tiago, I think his name is, and obviously Kevin Chada is there as well. So
yeah,
again, the minutes are potentially slightly worse, and the fixtures are bad. That's the only reason. I mean,
yeah,
he does keep getting so many chances, big chances as well. So
yeah,
that can't be ignored. But yeah, that's my reasoning.
yeah. I mean, I completely understand. The home and away form is definitely. I mean, if I don't know if anyone's seen the table, they're pretty much second in the league at home and second bottom away. It's quite stark actually. I just think moving forward, your play style isn't going to be affected too much in terms of who the chances are going to go through. So I think if anything, with these additional bodies back, it may actually help their depth, and it could even end up helping them on the road a bit to just cement some of their away form. So that's why I'm keeping Wissa high. I'd rather be late to the party of getting him out than early, especially while his XG so high. So that's why I've still got him high for me. And then Vardy, you've got Vardy quite high, I think, for a Leicester asset. If you want to take people through that.
Yeah, so Vardy's minutes have been better than I expected them to be. Obviously, he's on penalties, which we knew if he was going to play, he'd be on penalties. But his minutes have just been better than I thought. I didn't think he'd be starting every game. And also, their fixtures. So the next five are slightly mixed. And longer term, he's not great. But for the next five, West Ham at home's next, Brighton at home. Then it's Newcastle away, which who knows where Newcastle will be at that point. Then it's
Yeah,
Wolves
we
at
feel
home.
wobbly.
Yeah, then it's Wolves at home. And then the fixtures get bad. It's Liverpool, City. But for the next four at least, I think he's a very, very good option.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, and also, he does have that legacy as an FPL asset. Like, we don't need to worry about bringing Vardy in and being like, was it a one-off? Was it a flash in the pan? He's been there and he's done that. So, I think we can have a bit more faith in his floor than we can with, you know, other assets from promoted teams. And then Welbeck is another point I wanted to talk about. He's just slipped down a bit. So last week, we spoke about the size of the pie, and Brad was right about Matoma again. Um, but I just think Mitoma's goals seem to have come at the cost of Welbeck's piece of the pie. Of late, Welbeck's XG has slipped down to zero point 0.2. It was 0.03 against Bournemouth 2 games ago. So Mitoma's goals just seem to have coincided with a bit of a regression from Welbeck. So that's why he's fallen for me. He's still a great price and he still plays for a great attack. I just think he's the one who seems to be suffering a bit. I don't know where you land on that.
Yeah, I think he's fine. He's not moved in my list. I've still got him third,
Mm.
and I still think that's fine. Their next five fixtures are so good, so that's not a
Yeah,
problem. And also, I don't think he'll be benched. I mean, a lot of it, he potentially could be, given that Evan Ferguson's there, João Pedro can play up top, especially with midweek fixtures around. But with Dunk not there, he's taken the captain armband, which maybe means nothing, but minutes-wise in my head, that means that he probably plays. So I like him for the next 5.
Yeah, it's a great point about captain's armband. You tend not to, if captain's out, you tend to hand it to someone who's going to be on the pitch at minimum. So I think it's definitely. I mean, that wasn't even the main reason for me. Was his minutes. The main reason was just his output. So I think if you are concerned about his minutes, I think you're probably going to be okay. And then onto premiums. I think this is where we've got quite a bit of difference. So Solanke, you seem to be all in on Solanke. He seems to be doing less and sliding up every week.
Yeah, like you say, he has gone up every week for me. He's gone up to second in my list now, and it's just so in the game at the weekend he wasn't in the squad, but that was due to illness, so I'm not worried about that. It's the fact that for most of these other guys, the minutes are going to be an issue. So we've seen with Jackson can come off early sometimes, and he's a yellow card away from a suspension. Havertz, we've seen that Gabriel Jesus will play up front at times. Isak, Wilson's back, and Isak is potentially injured, so who knows about that. Solanke will just play all of the minutes that you want, and the Spurs attack is just so good. Admittedly, like we said last week, sometimes he doesn't get involved in what seems like quite a lot of goals, but I just think that he is playing for an attack that is good enough that he will tick along, even when the fixtures aren't great. But the fixtures are okay. I mean, they do play Chelsea, they play Liverpool in the next 5, but there's also Southampton, Bournemouth. So, yeah, I just think it's minutes more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, and that's completely fair. I think for me, it's just if we are talking about ranking those as assets, I just think the way Chelsea are playing and the way Jackson's playing, yellow cards be damned, that man's got to be high. He's just always in and around the action. I think at minimum, Jackson is going to get the bulk of a game. If he's going to get rotated out, it's not going to be till later on anyway. So he'll have most of the game within a great attacking, great fixtures to get the job done. So I think that's why he's high for me. And then Isak, I mean, against you guys, we saw. I mean, Isak was getting in the right spots. He easily could have had 1 or 2. I think the chances are there for Isak, and he is a great finisher. I personally think he's just got a bit unlucky. So if you have Isak, it's not panic time. I think I'd still hold him, but 1 or 2 more results like this, then I think we can definitely start looking at reevaluating him. As you said, Solanke for me, I'm just a bit concerned about. Sometimes he just seems to vanish in these games with loads of goal flurries, despite being in and around the action. And Tottenham are, even though they've got all of this great attacking firepower, it just seems so unpredictable. One week it's Maddison, 1 week it's Solanke, 1 week it's Brennan Johnson, 1 week it's Son. There's just not enough consistency there to trust any of these assets fully. But that's at least where I land anyway.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is that they're all pretty good. I mean, if you've got one of them, I don't think these guys are worth moving between each other at the moment, unless we know more about Isak's injury. But I don't think it's worth moving between them. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, if you want to let me and Brad know what you think of our list, again, let us know if there's anyone you think we missed, and then we will revisit you. Not next week, actually. We will revisit you. Wait, yes, the end of this week, actually. So to sort of revisit some of these other talking points ahead of the next game week. So,